Let's first talk about the new drama, and then we'll discuss everything we know about the new episode of the amazing Digital Circus. To start, I'd like to say that I did enjoy the Gaslight District, but it didn't catch my interest enough to keep making videos about the new show. The continuation of the drama began when Gooseworx wrote something rather strange. So gritty and grimy and beautiful. So unbelievably proud of Nick and the team for pulling off something this jam-packed with such brutal, fun, lore, character, and style. Best glitch show. Even back then, I didn't really understand why Goose was praising Gaslight District so much, and followed it up with this Twitter post. I think we should start a discourse in all public schools that Digital Circus is a girls' show and the Gaslight District is a boys' show. I think this would open up many new avenues for previously obsolete bullying practices. The market would thrive. I get that Digital Circus looks much more colorful compared to Gaslight District, but that doesn't mean Digital Circus is a girls' show, whatever that means. That kind of strange behavior, almost like she was belittling her own project, sparked a new wave of messages about episode 5. Even though Goose had already threatened to delay the episode if people kept asking about it. In the end, the whole thing blew up into panic, and Goose had to confirm that TADC is not getting cancelled. As a result, we're now in a position where most TADC fans didn't really like the Gaslight District, and the stats of the new show suggest this might be the first major flop in Glitch's history. Though let's not jump to conclusions just yet. But for me, one question still remains. Why does Goose consider the Gaslight District to be the best show ever? And just recently, we finally got something related to the Digital Circus. Everyone pretty much knows that episode 5 will be sports-themed, and now we got a little hint at bowling? Maybe the baseball stadium is just a cover-up? Anyway, let's talk about everything else we know so far about episode 5. Now, let's talk about something that a lot of people have seen, but I don't think most truly caught what was hidden beneath the surface. I'm talking about the new TADC ad in Japan. While it mostly served as a retrospective of everything that's happened so far, there was also something new, and that something might just be a glimpse into what we're about to see in the next episode. First off, Pomni still hasn't let go of the idea that there's a way to escape the Digital Circus, and as usual, Jax is messing with her in his classic style. Then, a small fight breaks out, which is a perfect example of the chaos Goose was talking about in that old post. We might actually see real conflict between the members of the Digital Circus, and this could be the beginning of the end, something that Kaufmo already symbolized back in the pilot episode. In the final scene of this ad, we see an abstracted monster, and there's a chance that it's Kaufmo himself. Just the sight of it completely shuts down both Pomni and Jax, almost as if it's warning them. If things keep going this way, they're all doomed to the same fate. Alright, but that's just one side of this ad. But what if that ain't Kaufmo? What if it's somebody else? And if that's the case, then how are we even supposed to interpret this whole scene? We're definitely going to talk about it today, but first, there are still a few loose ends we gotta tie up. Right after this ad dropped, we almost immediately got another one. It's 3 times shorter, but somehow it feels like it's packed with way more important details. Just like in the first ad, it starts off with Pomni looking for a way out, and ends with that same abstracted monster. But in between, we get a shot of our favorite troublemaker, Jax, holding a bunch of explosives. At first glance, this might seem like just another random gag, but it's actually way deeper than that. We all remember the pilot and episode 2, right? That's where they really established Jax as this mischievous, sarcastic dude who's all about pranks and messing with people. But, starting from that same second episode, we see his usual antics slowly getting shut down by the other residents of the Digital Circus.
I'm so unbelievably disappointed right now.
Well, maybe there'll be blood, death, and violence in the next adventure.
Ha 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 ha, how wholesome.
And that same thing kept going in episode 3.
What happened up here?
Don't worry about that.
Well, episode 4 turned out to be the peak of this storyline.
All right, I'm clocking out. This wasn't fun at all. See you all later.
And now we're getting to the real juicy stuff. Even though Goose posted a list of characters tied to specific episodes less than a year ago, we found out in December that episodes 5 and 6 are loosely divided between Jax and Regatha, and both characters will be equally explored in these episodes. This means that in episode 5, we're going to see something that ties back to the explosives in Jax's hands. And even if episode 5 doesn't end up being Jax's return to the chaotic world he's used to, we'll definitely be seeing the first steps in that direction. I don't think I need to repeat for the millionth time that the new location will definitely be the baseball stadium we got teased about over a year ago, and that episode 5 will be sports themed, which the beginning of episode 4 basically screamed at us. Also, we can expect Regatha to be making some serious moves to regain the respect and trust of the others, especially considering that Gangle's drawing at the end of episode 4. I also promised to share another theory about the abstracted monster and who it could be. But before that, let me point out that Gummy Goo has been popping up a lot lately in the context of the TADC universe. And even though I don't believe he could become a main character in the digital circus tent, the sheer amount of attention surrounding him can't be ignored. It really makes you think he's definitely going to appear as a one-episode character, which means he's got to replace someone. Considering we've already seen Kaufmo in that so-called basement, it's pretty unlikely he could have escaped from there, especially with any kind of logic. But this monster is clearly on the circus tent's grounds, which led me to think that maybe one of the already familiar characters could follow Kaufmo's fate and turn into an abstracted monster. But who could that be? Let's dive into that. A while back, the creators explained that there were only supposed to be 6 characters in the digital circus, and Kaufmo didn't make the cut. If we do see someone new in episodes 7-9, unfortunately, that means one of the characters we already know will likely have to transform into an abstracted monster. But how likely is that, and who might be the unlucky one? Let's start with the least obvious candidates. Jax, for many, is the most unpleasant character due to his actions.
Ladies first. No, wait, why would I say that? Side and shoot him repeatedly until they're unrecognizable.
I feel like that violates some kind of convention.
You're violating my ears with your clapback. Get driving, driver.
So, Pomni, I'm sure there's some way you could help out here. Maybe when we catch up to them, we could...
Gotta be assertive. Like this!
Jax!
However, despite that, Jax's full story will only be revealed in episode 6, and it would be odd to remove him from the digital circus right after his moment in the spotlight. Plus, Gooseworx has shown a clear fondness for Jax, which works in his favor. Personally, I wouldn't want Jax to abstract by the end of the season either. It's really fascinating to see how, with each episode, people seem to care less and less about him.
Don't I know it?
If your friends see him, I only hope he doesn't bore them to death with his endless monologue. Feel free to visit anytime.
Definitely!
What happened up here?
Don't worry about that.
He's no longer as much of a problem for most of the characters. How Jax will behave moving forward will keep us intrigued until the very end. Pomni also has a very slim chance of being removed from the show, despite being the most emotional character in the digital circus.
My name? My name is, oh God! Why can't I remember my name? Why? Every day I spend here is one nightmare after the next. I knew it would end up like this. He just wants me to suffer. I really am in hell.
Plus, her mental state has been steadily improving since the pilot episode. In the pilot, she hated everything around her. But by the second episode, we already saw some signs of improvement. And by the end of episode 3, she had fully accepted what was happening in the digital circus and came to terms with the fact that she wouldn't be able to escape. We even got to see her genuinely happy for the first time.
Oh, Pomni, Kinger, are you guys okay? Was it scary?
I'm fine, actually.
Were you?
Something like that. Hey, Ragatha,
Yeah?
I just want to say thanks for always being concerned about me.
And let's be honest, if the digital circus started with Pomni, it should end with her. Jax and Pomni are the characters that will definitely stick around until the very end of the season. Besides those two, there's one more character with very little chance of becoming an abstracted monster, Zooble.
If anyone needs me, then off.
Oh, God! Oh, jeez! No!
Despite her strange behavior and significant mental issues,
It's me, remember? I don't like myself. I hate this body. I hate all these stupid removable pieces.
she definitely won't be leaving the digital circus. Remember that one leak from Gooseworx, where she explicitly mentioned that Zooble would be with us until the end of episode 9. With that, we have 3 characters who definitely won't be removed, and we'll get to enjoy their journeys until the end of the first season. Now, let's turn our attention to those who are more likely to leave the digital circus, just like Kaufmo did. However, since episode 9 will be the finale and won't feature any of the digital circus's horrors, only 2 out of 3 characters will become abstracted monsters, while 1 will remain with the others. Our choices are Kinger, Gangle, and Regatha. Let's play a little game. I'll first explain the reasons why each of them could turn into an abstracted monster, and before I reveal the correct answer, go ahead and write in the comments who you think will keep their life in the digital circus. Regatha is the kindest character of them all, and she seems to be the only one genuinely trying to help Pomni adjust to life in the digital circus.
What did any of that mean?
Oh, that's just one of Kane's little adventures. They're just something fun to do to, prevent us from going insane.
Regatha never loses her optimism, even in the most challenging situations, but her kindness could lead to unfortunate consequences. Regatha doesn't know how to stand up for herself effectively, and if we recall the scene from episode 3 where Pomni says the long-awaited words to Regatha,
Hey, Regatha,
Yeah?
I just want to say thanks for always being concerned about me. I feel like through everything, I haven't really been appreciative enough about that.
we can see how much those words mean to her, as if she had been waiting for them her entire life. But it's not just Pomni who receives support from Regatha. She extends that same kindness to everyone else as well. However, we haven't seen anyone else truly appreciate Regatha's actions, and I'm sure that causes her pain. Also, remember how she apologized to Pomni in a situation where she wasn't even at fault.
Oh, and don't worry about the whole abandoning me for the exit thing. It's perfectly understandable what you were going through at the time, and there's no hard feelings. You're all good.
This kind of behavior, along with her overly strong attachment to others, could very well be what leads her to becoming an abstracted monster. Gangle is a victim of the digital circus, or more specifically, a victim of Jax. That rabbit makes sure Gangle, the queen of drama, doesn't get a moment of peace whenever he has the chance.
Which door should we choose?
Not sure. Let's try this out.
Gangle is constantly crying, even in the most harmless situations. She can't stand up to her main bully, Jax, and because of that, she has to endure his torment day after day.
Do it, it'll be epic.
Why are there so many knives back here?
Do it, or I'll tell Regatha about the figurine thing.
This would put her on the verge of the same state that Kaufmo experienced in the final days of his life. And then we have the king of madness in the digital circus, Kinger.
What was that? Was that you?
No. Oh, wait, you mean me grabbing you right now? Yeah, that was me. Is this your hand?
That's my eye.
Yes, but which eye?
I really don't think that Will you stop touching my eye?
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Unstable, fearful, and occasionally rational, Kinger is a character who suffers deeply from his life in the digital circus. We've learned that he isn't as strange as he seems. His pain stems from the loss of the person closest to him.
Right after my wife had abstracted, I don't recall the exact string of events, but we both ended up in the fort together. And it was dark. The darkness seemed to calm her down a bit.
It's quite possible that this tragedy is what caused Kinger to become who he is today. However, it's important to remember that he has truly learned to cope with all the challenges surrounding him. But what if each day becomes an increasing trial for Kinger, and there comes a point when he can't bear it any longer and decides to reunite with his wife? Write down who you think from this trio will survive and who will follow Kaufmo's path. I believe Regatha will manage to keep her life, and the reason isn't just her immense optimism, but also because of Pomni, who is likely to become her only true friend, helping her cope with all the challenges. On the other hand, Kinger and Gangle face far too harsh conditions in the digital circus, making it truly difficult for them to endure.